Marshall Mathers, also known as Eminem, is one of my favourite rappers of all time, and you guys probably know that as I've done a couple of videos on him already. But this is one that you guys have been requesting a lot. Now, we all know that Eminem can rap pretty fast from some of his recent songs, but what are his fastest verses of all time? So with that being said, my name is CDTVProductions, and today we are going to be counting down the 10 fastest Eminem verses of all time.
Translation. So you can suck my dick if you don't like my shit, cause I was high when I wrote this, so suck my dick.
Now guys, this is actually essentially going to be a top 15 instead of a top 10, but you know, my channel's kind of top 10, so what we're going to do is the first 5 are going to be honourable mentions. First of all, I'd just quickly like to say, I did look through a lot of verses, and there were some I was surprised that didn't make the cut, and those were songs like Loud Noises, Despicable, Calm Down, My Life, those kind of songs. I was quite surprised they didn't make the cut. But with that being said, let's get into the first 5 honourable mentions, and then after that, we'll get into the top 10. So at our 15th spot, we have Biterphobia, verse 2, where he hits 6.7 syllables per second.
I had a dream I was getting jacked by biters. I felt like I was being attacked by spiders, developing a fear and biterphobia. I'm holding a gas can and lighter over you if I detect you. I'm a pulverized, dissect your brain.
Now this was actually a much older Eminem song that you guys might not know about, and this was one of his older songs that he made with his group called Soul Intent, who were an underground Detroit rap group, and they were around in about the mid-90s. This was pretty much where Eminem started off, and you can see he's actually really had he's had a proper fast flow from the beginning. At our 14th spot and our second honourable mention, we have Love Game, verse 3, where he hits 6.9 syllables per second.
In my head, woke up again and jumped up like fuck it, I've had it. I'm checking into rehab, I confess I'm a static addict. I guess that's why I'm so clingy. Every girl I've ever had either says I got too much baggage or I'm too fucking dramatic. Man, what the fuck is the matter? I'm just...
Now this was a great recent track off of the Marshall Mathers LP 2. At first I didn't really like this song that much because of the kind of really old style beat on it, and I didn't like the beat that much, but it has grown a lot on me, and it is hard to deny. Eminem has a fantastic flow in this one. It's a great song, and you should check it out if you want to hear an Eminem Kendrick Lamar collab. At number 13, we have Medicine Man by Dr. Dre, verse 2, where he hits 6.9 syllables per second again.
I give a fuck if my image even ends up taking a personal hit. Whoever I heard or whatever bridges I burn in this bitch, and whatever bitches feel like they didn't deserve what they get, and whatever consequences come with every verse is worth it, so don't turn a beat.
Now this is one of my favourite Eminem verses of all time, and I'm actually kind of mad that I forgot to put it on my 10 best Eminem guest verses video, because I love it. There's just so much rage and passion in his voice, and he does not stop flowing. It's not necessarily a fast rap, but it's just continuous flow, and it sounds amazing. It's such a passionate verse, and there we go, number 13 that was. And number 12, for our fourth honourable mention, we have Forever, verse 4, where he hits 7 syllables per second.
Is ignited, you can't put it out once we light it. This shit is exactly what the fuck that I'm talking about when we riot. You dealing with a few true villains who stand inside of the boot, true spilling and spit true feelings until our true feelings come flying up out of our mouths.
Now this was another amazing verse, and it was supposedly so good that it made Kanye West and Lil Wayne rewrite their verses after they heard this one. And I can honestly see why. Like, listening to it, Eminem had the standout verse on that song and he ripped it apart completely, and it was just fantastic. And at number 11, our final honourable mention before we get into the official top 10, we have That's All She Wrote by T.I., verse 4, where he hits 7.1 syllables per second.
Sticking those to your forehead and staple it. Life is too short and I got no time to sit around just wasting it, so I pace this shit a little bit quicker. That clock, I'm racing it, double time in it, but I still spit triple the amount of insults and a tenth of the time that it may take you pricks to catch on.
Now this was another one of the fairly earlier fast rapping examples from Eminem, because he's always kind of had a steady flow from like pretty much all of his albums up until about MMLP2 / Recovery kind of era. That's when he started to pick the speed up a lot more, like significantly on MMLP2. But this was one of the earlier examples that showed he could still rap very fast if he wanted to. Okay guys, so I just wanted to quickly get through those. That was our 5 honourable mentions, and now we will start the official top 10. And at number 10, we have Psychopath Killer, which also has Yelawolf, Royce the 5'9", and Crooked Eye, verse 3, where he hits 7.4 syllables per second.
Thing I write seems wrong, and it's like I'm ecstatic at all the static that I can still cause in the fabric of our modern society. Now Catholics are panicking because I snap back to my old antics and shenanigans. Damn it, the Pope's Madigan probably shouldn't have ran up in the Vatican with that mannequin singing bagpipe.
Now this was off of the 2014 album Shady XV, which was pretty pretty much like an album with tracks from all the different members of Shady Records, and it was a pretty dope album, and this was one of my favorite songs off it. I love the dark vibe and the really kind of like driving, dark, synthy production. It was great, and Eminem sounded fantastic over it. And, you know, on Shady XV was where he really started to show that he had fast flows, and he would just use them all the time. Like, Shady XV is littered with those fast flows. A lot of people didn't like it that much. I thought it was a great thing, and I thought it was really good to hear. At number 9, we have All I Think About, verse 2, where he had 7.5 syllables per second.
I'm an it male and I'm born with malaria. Former Lou Garrett to the torture and terrify corporate America. Poor little Erica. In the morning, the sheriffs and law enforcement will find 1/4 of her buried under a barrier, the kitchen floor with the stairs and an outdoor wooded area. From the moment.
Now this was off of the Southpaw soundtrack, which pretty much contained a lot of kind of like high energy boxing tracks, as that's what the movie was about. And this was one of the more kind of comedic tracks. It was actually a Bad Meets Evil track, which means Eminem did it with Royce da 5'9", and it was really great to hear them link up again on this album, and it shows that Eminem still has that kind of like Slim Shady LP side within him at all times, because that's really what it felt like. It did feel like a kind of earlier era Eminem on this. You know, he was spitting hilarious rhymes, but he also kept his flows at a high speed. But it is a funny song. I really liked it. At number 8, we have another song from Shady XV. We have Detroit vs. Everybody, verse 4, where he hit 7.9 syllables per second.
Cause so cold in the day it is, as days begin to take away. But ain't this really what made me into the angry bit of blonde? But ain't we sick of being underdogs? Don't make me unleash this shit, release this pit, may even seem as if I'm yanking your chain a bit, or maybe the way in which I'm saying shit is playing with you. But
this was another dope song from the Shady XV. It was actually the last song that closed it out, and it had a very kind of like inspirational verse from Eminem, kind of just talking about his career, how he's got to where he has, and how he feels about it so far. And honestly, I didn't think this would be higher up than All I Think About and Psychopath Killer, but I guess he does go pretty fast on it. And at number 7, we have Right For Me, verse 2, where he hits 8 syllables per second.
dramatic stun is drastic. I fucking crashed my hovercraft after I strapped the duffel bag to my back and stuffed a massive punching bag in it, an elastic bungee strap, rubber plaster, a thumbtack, and a piece of plastic bubble wrap. Went spastic and fucking snapped, jumped and splashed in a puddle of battery acid, stumbled back, recovered back.
Okay, so now we're in that 80 syllables in 10 seconds range, which is always a really good range to hit. Now, I did like how he kind of managed to link this verse together in terms of the lines, even though it did kind of sound like he was just saying random things, you know? Like, it was a really random scenario he set up, but it was still very impressive rhymes. It's like the whole rhyming elastic bungee strap, rubber plaster, a thumbtack, and a piece of plastic bubble wrap. It's so random, but it just sounds perfect, because not even how the words rhyme, but how each syllable rhymes. At number 6, we have the song by Yelawolf called Throw It Up, which features Eminem, verse 3, where he hits 8 syllables per second again.
Tell the cashier what I want is to act like an asshole. When I pull up at the White Castle and I ask for an application, throw it back in the face and tell the bitch I'm a rapper. Then I whap her in the head with a whopper that I bought from BK. You expect me to be proper? Bitch, you better pop in a CD and me.
Now, this personally wasn't one of my favorite verses from Eminem. It was okay. I did like the fact that he was going a bit faster on. Like, speed is not the only thing that makes a good Eminem verse to me, but it definitely sounds very good. But I felt like it was a bit iffy in some places, you know, the me, Yelawolf. Like, it was a bit broken up sometimes and it sounded a bit awkward, but he really started to pick it up towards the end of the verse, and it was one of those ones that just kind of got better as it went on. At number 5, we have the Bad Meets Evil song Vegas, verse 1, where Eminem hits 8.3 syllables per second.
Point to this banging, and I'ma keep on saying all the shit I should be hung for and probably kill for saying, and I probably will, but not until the day I pop a pill again, like drop until I drop, and still if that don't do the job of killing Shady, then they call me where they're saying I'm a string, it's Muhammad to the Parkinson's.
Now, this is one of the verses that really makes you question, does Eminem have lungs? Like, now I know he could have punched it in here, and he probably does, but the way it sounds is just perfect, and it all fits together so well. Like, I'm pretty sure he continuously raps for about 20 to 25 seconds here, and it's crazy. It was actually another song from Shady XV here, which kind of seems to be a pattern with a lot of the songs, actually. 4 of the songs on this so far have been from Shady XV, but it was a great verse, and it was, again, another Bad Meets Evil track. It's always great to hear them together, and I really look forward to another album from them. Like, I hope they do another one, because hell, the sequel was a fantastic album. I loved almost every track on there. Eminem and Royce da 5'9" have such good chemistry, and they always seem to bring out the best in each other. At number 4, we have What Color Is Soul, where Eminem hits 8.7 syllables per second.
I'll be a fucking honky. So bad when I'm gonna make it sit if you can't even tell what the fuck I'm saying. He just talking, yeah, but it's like rubbing about my dick and they just top I hip thing. I meant that if I would have put him in different that I might have been able to do the lip sync. Cause that's that rapping, this motherfucker.
Now, this was one I actually found when I was researching for this video. I didn't know it existed before, but I listened to it and I didn't know it was Eminem at first. Like, that did not sound like Eminem to me. His voice was very different, but this was another one released in one of his Soul and 10 eras. Like, this was way back in the day. This was another mid-90s release. Honestly, he was reaching like Twista level speeds there. Like, that sounded crazy. And it's ridiculous to think he used to chop it up like that even back in the day, and it shows that he's always been a talented lyricist and writer. And at number 3, we have the Shady Cipher verse 6, where Eminem hits 8.8 syllables per second.
Rootin' is tootin' is shootin' is from the hip with the sentiments. Eminem is penning them for the women. I'm an enemy to them and the epitome of a nigga said of an idiot, but they consider me equivalent to chlamydia. They're trying to get rid of me, gadzooks. But I stickity stand for the figgity flag.
Now, this entire cipher was just absolute carnage. Everyone on this ripped this apart, but none of them could compete with what Eminem had. I'm pretty sure the video for it was like 19 minutes long, and it was all of them rapping at one after each other, you know, all the members of Shady Records, all the current members. But Eminem's verse lasted for about 9 minutes on here, and it's crazy. He literally took up half the video alone, and it was mental. He just ripped it up the whole way through. It had insane rhymes, punchlines, just kind of the stuff that Eminem is known for nowadays, completely ripping it up, making anything rhyme, and then towards the end he just picked it up to do that fast flow again, and it sounds brilliant. Honestly, I'd love to hear someone put that over a beat. And at number 2, for the second fastest Eminem verse, we have Speed 'Em verse 2, where he hits 10.2 syllables per second.
And I'll never fail to deliver this. Whatever the weather in this will be just like a certificate of authenticity. But I'm thinking about just trying to think of the quickest and sickest way to make them pick it up. Pick a day to be quick, then I'm picking it, wicked, the shit's a sight. Spit it back at a level incredible, helpful, rebel, unforgettable, better believe these beats are edible, like I said on Lucy Feather.
So yeah, I've already given my opinions on this verse in my 10 best Eminem guest verses video, but this was on a song with Tech 9 and Chris Calico, and Eminem obviously had to come with a fast performance, as this was part of the Choppers series which Tech 9 did, and this was Worldwide Choppers 2. So Eminem really had to bring his A game here, and that is what he did. Like, this was a ridiculously fast verse, and it was so hard to pick the segment that I thought was the fastest over 10 seconds because there were so many parts where he just completely rips it up here. But there you go, that is the second fastest one, and I think you guys all know what number 1 is gonna be. So here we are for our number 1 fastest Eminem verse of all time. Of course, we have Rap God verse 3, where he hits 11.4 syllables per second.
Lyrics coming at you with supersonic speed. You assuming I'm a human. What I gotta do to get it through to you? I'm superhuman, innovative, and I made a rubber so that anything you say is shaking off of me and it'll glue to you and devastating more than ever, demonstrating how to give a motherfucking audience a feeling like it's levitating. Never.
Now, you guys probably all knew that was gonna be number 1, but that is actually ridiculous. 11.4 syllables per second is the fastest I've ever had in this fastest verse series so far. So far, we've done Futuristic, Tech 9, Joyner Lucas, and Logic. None of them have hit 11.4 syllables per second as far as I know, and that's just insanely impressive. I mean, this was the one that really surprised me when it first came out. I listened to it and I thought, I never knew Eminem could rap that fast. I just listened to it and I was in awe. It was really amazing, because I remember I didn't like the song at first much for the beat. I thought it was kind of grating on your ears a little bit, and a bit like with that high-pitched sound. But the rapping on it is brilliant, and that is why it takes our number 1 spot here as the fastest Eminem verse of all time. Well guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you really enjoyed this one, because a lot of you guys have requested this, and I really hope you enjoyed it. I want to say thank you so much for 10,000 subscribers. It's actually ridiculous. I can't believe we're here already, and I should have the Q&A out soon for you guys. I'm just working on editing it down and stuff, so it should come out at some point in the very near future. But yeah guys, also if you're new to this channel by any chance and you're still here and you want to know how I calculated the verses, if you couldn't tell by the video, it was literally just counting the number of syllables over a period of 10 seconds. And I want to say real quick why I use 10 seconds. A lot of people say you should just like go to when the fast part starts and when the fast part ends. But the problem with that, right, I just want to do it in a way that they can fairly be compared. So there needs to be, I hate to use science, like GCSE science terminology here, but there has to be like a control variable, and that's going to be that they're over the same period of time. So maybe in the future I could kind of cut it down, like do like 8 seconds or stuff like that, and maybe it would result in a higher syllable per second count. But either way, I'm going to do it over the same period of time for each song so that they can be fairly and accurately compared. Otherwise, it's not exactly fair. But yeah, that's pretty much all I want to say, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Follow me on my Twitter, the link is in the description. So follow me on Twitter at CDTVProductions, or if you want, just click on the link in the description, it will take you there. Also, I'd appreciate if you could support me on Patreon, it will help me improve my content in the future, but you don't have to. It's just there in case you guys want to. Subscribing, liking, and commenting, all that stuff is enough for me. And like I said, yeah guys, we've hit 10,000 subscribers, we've pretty much hit 1 million overall views on the channel. It's ridiculous. Can't thank you guys enough. This is going so much better than I thought it would be at the moment, and it's actually mad. Thank you all for watching. I will see you guys all in the next video, and this is CDTV Productions, signing out.